Ink Ribbon.
Hey guys, I don't know if you've been playing Resistance like I have, but I really love this game. I've also had a lot of trouble with this game. So after trying to find guides online and having a lot of problems for the past 2 weeks, I've been kind of putting together tips for you guys. I'm still working on the masterminds, but today we're going to focus on tips for playing as survivors. So this video is going to focus on survivors. If you're interested in knowing about masterminds, I'll have that video later on this month, this week, whenever it comes out, so keep an eye out for that. But let's go ahead and start with Valerie. Before I get started though, I do want to mention something. This is very important across the board. If you pick a character, you need to play as that character, meaning that Valerie and January and Tyrone, they all play different. And they all have jobs to do. If you're not doing their job, you're hurting the team, you're hurting yourself. Don't be that person. So, let's go ahead and start with Valerie. Her fever skill's really good. She's all about healing. Valerie is a healer. So, you want to make sure that whichever one you prefer, some people say that her second upgrade with the healing gun is better. I don't really care. That one does have a slower cooldown, but it also doesn't heal infection. So, I don't know. It's really up to you. But for me, what Valerie's biggest skill is finding items, because she can really help the team. There are a couple different Valerie builds. I know there's one where she can spawn like a million Molotovs, but I don't know how to do that. Oh, I haven't unlocked any equipment. Whoops. Let's just go ahead and go into a practice round. Alright, so see how I'm standing here?
I might be able to see something.
By pushing that, not only can I detect items like herbs, ammo, umbrella credits, but I can see enemies that are going to be on the other side of the door. That's very useful for when the mastermind is, you know, setting a trap where there's just monsters taking up an entire room, because it helps your entire team prepare, because when she sees stuff, all your teammates can see it too. Her second personal skill is always better, because not only do you mark everything nearby, but you will also your team will deal more damage to any enemies that are marked. So they have the same cooldown. It's just as soon as you get to level 11 with her, use that forever. Now, her other passive skill is completely up to your playstyle. If you're more of an action person, I would probably say debuff is better, especially if you're playing against a net. But healing aura is more if you're on the healer side, and that's just that she heals people better. Whereas the other one, every time you headshot an enemy, it cancels out their buff. So when they have the enhancer rounds and they're running after you, or if they're an infectious zombie, one headshot and one of those buffs is gone. So that can make a difference, but again, you know, that's the thing about Valerie. She's kind of a wild card. Now, one cool thing about Valerie is her ability to make enemies drop explosives, which is great, because not only can she pick them up, but, you know, enemies can pick them up as long as she's the one who killed them. And her counterattack is something I'm not familiar with, because I really have not played as her, but I do know that there's a trick that involves her using explosives, but I'll let you guys look at that. There's videos online, Swyngpoint and Sinow and a couple other people have made them. I'll link all their channels at the end of this. But let's move on to January. I would argue that January is probably the best character in the game when it comes to dealing with the mastermind directly. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I've been playing as mastermind and I'm just like, oh, you stupid. Oh, I got so mad at her, but that just means that Jan was doing her job. If you're playing as Jan, it is your job to take out the cameras. That is your number one priority. Don't worry about enemies. Don't worry about healing your teammates. Take out the cameras. Oh man, it makes such a difference. Now, her fever skills... when playing as Mastermind, both of these are equally as annoying. It's completely up to you. One of them makes your skill cost go up, which is really annoying, but then the other one doesn't let you move the camera. And that one's especially effective towards masterminds who use guns, because then they're like powerless. They can't place anything, and it's just, yeah. But her passive skill is where she really shines. This is what lets you disable cameras. So you should always have her equipment aimed towards increasing her passive skill speed, because the faster it goes, the faster you could just keep disabling cameras. Now, her other passive skill, Disruptor Rounds, just makes her do a lot more damage to cameras than normal characters do. But I think her energy disruption skill is really cool, because every time that she hits a camera, it pauses the mastermind's bioenergy recharge, which means that they they can't do anything, or they can't spawn new enemies while she's attacking cameras. So theoretically, you could just sit there as Jan, get under a camera, and just keep shooting it as long as you possibly can, and the mastermind will not be able to really do anything about it. And let me tell you, as a mastermind, it's very, very frustrating. And her interesting skill is a Cyber Monday. That just gives her the ability to hack the storage box or whatever that sells you items, and that allows you to buy weapons that you're not supposed to be able to have until like way later. Alright, let me just close this door so that I can show you guys. So when you see that, just hold it, bam, camera's disabled. Now, 2 ways of attacking the cameras. Even if you're not Jan, you can just shoot it, and you can see she does do a lot more damage than normal characters. I can already tell you that. Now, that recharge right there, that's the mastermind's camera. While that's going, they can't do anything. However, keep in mind that some masterminds are able to recharge very, very quickly. And there's actually a bit of a problem with one of the masterminds in particular that I'm not going to tell you because it's basically cheating and I don't want to encourage it. Now, I want to see something because I think I figured out something they added in this update. Okay, yeah, so see how there's a shield around the camera? That's new. That was added in the Nikolai update. I thought that was just a Nikolai skill, but I guess people were taking out the cameras too quickly, so they added just a little bit of a buffer. While that shield is on, you can't do anything to the cameras. You cannot hack them, you cannot shoot them, all you can do is run away. So just something to keep in mind with the latest update of the game as of May. Now her fever skill, by pressing L1 and R1, wherever you are, it affects the mastermind. You don't have to be near a camera, you don't have to do anything like that. So the last thing about January that I'll say is her skill to buy upgraded weapons or the special weapons is very useful in the third area because you got to destroy those biocores, and especially if you give one to Becca and she uses her fever skill, you can see how teammates, or teamwork, I mean, really makes a big difference. So Tyrone is the character that I'm currently playing as to level up, and at first I didn't understand how he worked, and now I get it. He is the tank. He has the most health of any character. There's times I've literally used him as a human shield while people were doing stuff to prevent the mastermind from killing them. I mean, he's amazing. His fever skill is highly underrated. Extremely underrated. He takes so little damage when it's activated, but I'll show you that in a second. Now the next thing is his personal skill, which is his power kick. He can stop Nemesis, William, and Mr. X in their tracks. He just gives them a big old kick and they stop wherever they are. It can also send zombies flying, which is extremely helpful when the mastermind is controlling them, because sometimes, I mean, you've seen the mastermind just go crazy and you just give them a good kick, which I'll also show you in a second. Now, I have to tell you, First Responder, that's the skill you want to get. That unlocks at rank 5. When you combine that with the EMT licenses, I can heal people so fast. Oh. And lastly, he is the only character who can do this. It's his second wind ability, and what that does is he is capable of saving himself, but only once per round, and then you get a bunch of buffs when it happens, and that's about it. But let's go do some Tyrone gameplay. So when you're playing as Tyrone, for some reason the bat is just the best weapon for him. A lot of people have said it online. I haven't been able to verify exactly why, but check this out. Bam! Sit down. And it has a 9-second recharge, so keep that in mind. You can't go crazy spamming it. But there, we're recharged. Sit down. So what's cool about this is you can hit multiple enemies. Let me see if I can get them to gather close together, and I should be able to kick. Whoops. Bam! Check that out. Fuck you. So see, right now, if I had his upgraded fever skill, or I'm sorry, his upgraded passive skill, I'd be able to save myself. But I haven't unlocked that yet, so I can't show you. I'm so sorry. I'll be doing more resistance content, don't worry. This is where his fever skill is really cool. Let's say you're surrounded by enemies and all your teammates are near you. You just do this, and your teammates will take the most minuscule amount of damage. And next we have my favorite character, Samuel. I am a fighter, I like to kill everything, and that's what Sam is good at. Literally, he can use enemies as food. I think he's just an amazing, amazing character. Probably too powerful, but I'm not going to say anything. Okay, so his fever skill is okay, but when you upgrade it at rank 23, he regens health constantly. Like, he's almost unkillable. He'd have to take an enormous amount of damage to stop. So when he uses his fever skill, he goes into just fist mode, and you can't use any other weapons. You have to use your fist, so that's kind of like the downside of it. But for example, when you're fighting the Biocores, he just goes bam, 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 and he's restoring energy, so nothing can kill him. It's really, really cool. And speaking of regenerating health, his personal skill, when upgraded, is also amazing because so what his personal skill is, he goes forward and he hits stuff, which is great for like sprinting around the map. He can move really fast. But when you upgrade it at rank 11, every time he hits an enemy, not only does he regenerate health, but he regenerates infection rate. So his infection goes down, his health goes back up, and it has a 2-second cooldown. The 2-second cooldown is only if you hit something. If you don't hit anything, then he'll just keep doing it over and over again. And I'll show you that right now, but oh. And what's cool about that is you don't have to buy health, you don't have to buy ammo, you don't have to buy really anything. He can just use his fists. Alright, so this is his passive skill. You can see he just jumps around. This is great for if the mastermind is chasing you with a camera or whatever. However, unlike Tyrone, he doesn't knock enemies back the same way. Tyrone just sends people flying, but all he does is hit them like that. But see, that's how fast it cools down.
Activating that will take both.
So like, right now I'm really not doing that hot, but trust me, when Sam is upgraded, he's unstoppable. That kind of goes for like all the characters. Everyone starts out like okay, but the more you use them and the more of their skills that you unlock, I mean, it gets really, really crazy. And then you have to start working in equipment and Now, if you're someone who likes to just kill everything in sight, Sam's your guy. However, he's all about melee weapons, so if you prefer to shoot, that's going to be Becca, which I'll cover in a second. And next we have Martin Sandwich. Yes, that's his real name. Martin is actually a really fun character to use, in my opinion, because his whole thing, he's sort of like a Diet January. He's really good at fighting the mastermind, but while January takes out the cameras, he's more of an on-the-field kind of guy, especially when he levels up. His flash baton is amazing because it stops every enemy in the room from attacking for a while. I think like 10 to 15 seconds. Now, placing mines is his specialty. He'll just put those everywhere, and when you unlock the second set of mines, they're explosive flame mines that do damage over time. And they do group damage, and they're really, really powerful, but just be warned that those can knock your teammates back too if they're too close. Martin's main specialty is disabling traps. He sort of goes in and takes things apart. So if there's a mine or a leg trap on the floor, he can dismantle them. And when you upgrade his sapper skill, he is able to switch the mines with his own. So he can go and disable a trap and then put his own mine on top of it. And if your mastermind is leaving traps all over the place, you can really, really turn the tables, because now suddenly all of their traps are your traps. So let's try out some Martin in practice mode so I can show you guys. Alright, did this mastermind leave me any traps? Alright, so let me place a mine. This is just his standard electric mine, but get a zombie to step on it and boom. Now this one's cool because it can hold him in place. The other one just does a lot more damage, so that's kind of up to you which one you want to use. Now, one thing to note about Martin is he has the absolute lowest health of any character. He only has 1,000 hit points, so he goes down very easily. That's probably his biggest downside. But that can be easily solved by equipping him with the right equipment. One thing that I see a lot of Martin players doing is just running around blowing up mines. Do not be that player. your job is to disable the mines. And of course that means looking out for them. Which of course I can't find any in this practice round for some reason. But to demonstrate his fever skill, bam!
Very well.
Now that zombie just sits there confused. I can walk right up to him and he's not doing anything. And there, I got everyone in the room.
I mean, blind them.
So yeah, Martin is all about disabling traps and saving teammates when they're grabbed by the mastermind. Other than that, he's pretty normal. I should also mention he also has more inventory space than everyone else, presumably because he's got a backpack on, but that is Martin's sandwich in a nutshell. Now, like I said, with Samuel, it's all about melee attacks. Becca is all about shooting, and I recently leveled her up to level 24, and I really hated using her at first, but then I really grew to like her skills. So her fever skill is very useful if you know what you're doing, and that is that she's got unlimited ammo for a short period of time. I do not recommend upgrading pretty much any of her skills. This one just does a critical hit rate more often while she's shooting with infinite ammo, but the cooldown is a lot longer, and with this skill you just want to use it as often as you can. The thing that a lot of people don't realize about her unlimited ammo skill is you can use it with any gun. That includes the rocket launcher, the minigun, and you can already see that that's a really useful thing. So having Jan and Becca together on a team is really useful, because then Jan can buy her super weapons and she can just hang on to them for her fever skill. Now her sentry stance, honestly, I don't think anybody really uses this. It's kind of nifty, but it doesn't really work that great, and I'll show you guys in a second. And more hits, yeah. So her ability to make enemies drop ammo, that's a big thing with Becca. So every time you shoot an enemy, they drop ammo as long as you're the one who kills them. And when you upgrade it, they'll still drop ammo, but if you shoot them in the head and kill them, they'll drop even more ammo, like a ton of ammo. So that's something to keep in mind. But let's go ahead and put her into a match. So if I remember correctly, Becca doesn't really have a lot of health either. She's not as weak as Martin, but she, can't really hold her own. So you really want to keep your distance from enemies when playing as her. Don't let them grab you. Take them out from afar. That's what she's for. Now let me show you her sentry stance. So she gets down on one knee and she can aim easier, and she does a lot more damage. But while you're in that position, you can't move, and you can get hit from behind. So the only times that I really use this truly is like in this situation. So let's say this door's open and there's a lot of enemies in there. I'll get down over here so I can really focus on aiming, and I'll try to take them out one by one from far away while my teammates do whatever they're doing. So that's where Becca really comes in handy the most. Now if I can get a supply zombie to show up, which I still don't know how to activate them, I think it's just random. But see how this guy dropped some ammo? So he dropped 2 bullets. Oh god.
Just like on the range.
It's better than nothing, Now another thing, if you see numbers like that, they're still alive. See there, I shot no numbers means that they're dead. That's the surefire way to tell if something's dead. Plus you get a time bonus every time you kill an enemy. And there I just got 4 bullets, so it looks like it's like a random range of numbers. And lastly, we of course have Jill Valentine. She was recently added, and it took me a while to kind of understand, but she's sort of a jack of all trades, kind of. She basically plays the way she does in Resident Evil 3, and honestly I think it's more about fan service than game design, but she does have some useful skills. She's a bit of a tank. She likes to just destroy everything, but I think she's more focused on dodging and shooting than anything else. So her Star's Armory skill is cool because she pulls out the Samurai Edge, and it actually is an extremely powerful handgun. I was surprised at how much damage she does, but when you level it up, she pulls out a 4-rocket rocket launcher, and she can destroy whatever she wants while she's got that. So that's really helpful for when there's a bioweapon, or when you're at the biocores in the third area, because she can just destroy one, and she can do it from far away. So sometimes the mastermind can separate you from the biocores and you can just annihilate them. The other thing that she can do is dodge, but her cooldown is 5 seconds, so I actually find it annoying because I'm so used to Samuel's 2-second cooldown. And honestly, the rest of her passive skills just are kind of meh. It's all about, like, you know, shooting and damage and blah blah blah. Nothing really interesting. Another thing to note, if you're not used to playing the game right now, it's very difficult to play as Jill because the moment she was released, everybody tries to play as Jill. So I haven't really gotten to use her at all. This may be the third time I've ever controlled her myself. As far as fan service goes, she has some pretty funny lines in the game. But let's see, so... Now, the difference between her and Samuel, she can dodge in any direction. So, left, right, front, back. And that's definitely useful. You can't do it that fast because I've got infinite charge right now. But so there, 405 headshot with just a regular bullet. But now if I use her skill, 1,000 damage. 1,500 on that one, so you can see her fever skill is actually really, really, like, wow, you know? Bam! So yeah, Jill's kind of just a multi-purpose. She's kind of like Becca and Samuel combined. She's all about doing damage and dodging and moving fast, you know. You guys know Jill, I don't have to tell you. Okay, so those are the tips to get you started for each and every survivor. Now, I'm going to, while I talk, I'm going to be showing you footage from some of my PS4 matches that I did, and you can see me all leveled up and actually in rounds. But I just want to give some general gameplay tips that a lot of people don't seem to follow for some reason, and it's very aggravating when your team loses because of it. Now, if you've played, you've probably experienced times where you had a match going really good and you had so much time left, and then all of a sudden your time runs out and you're like, what the hell happened? Watch your time. Everything bad that happens to you takes away your time. Every time you get shot by the mastermind, every time you get grabbed or hit by an enemy, every time you step on a trap, all of those things eat away at your time. And you can lose 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 5 seconds, 1 second, depending on what it is. But that very, very quickly adds up. So do your best not to get hit in any way, because it can really, really make or break a match. Now, the opposite of this is to gain time. Every time you kill an enemy, every time you grab a key, every time you use a key, destroy a biocore, hack a terminal, all of those things give you time. So make sure that you're kind of counterbalancing. If you see that your time's going to run out, go kill some enemies or go blow up a trap, do whatever you got to do. Now, another tip for winning that I feel weird saying is to head for the door. Now, this may seem obvious, but I can't tell you how many matches I've been in where the door has been unlocked and everybody but one person is waiting and one person just goes running off to kill monsters, or just standing right outside of the area where they would move on to the next room. You can go and get hit and then get taken down, and now we have to go save you, which can cause teammates to get hit. It just get to the door. If the door is open, do whatever you have to do to get there. And if all of your team is working together, they should all be doing the same thing. So no matter what, if the door is open, head to it. Another team skill that I recommend, and you can do this even if you don't have people to communicate with, is to split up. Now, don't run off by yourself, but follow. So I think the best strategy is have 2 people go one way and 2 people go another way, because almost every map is split up into a left and a right path. There's a helicopter outside my window. Another really good reason that you should split up is because the mastermind can't focus on 2 targets at the same time. So they're either going to go after you 2 or they're going to go after the other 2. Now, my last general gameplay tip is to try to always have a Molotov or a grenade or a flash grenade in your inventory. Always. Because there are so many situations where it comes in handy. If you're surrounded by a ton of enemies, if the mastermind, like William or whoever, appears and is grabbing someone or tries to grab you, you can save yourself or you can save your teammates. It's really good for when there's IVs or liquors. always have a grenade. Now, I'm still learning how to play Resistance myself, so I'm not an expert. I'm just trying to help people who may be struggling with the game like I was a couple of weeks ago. So I hope that this helps you. If you're looking for more in-depth, detailed stuff, I highly recommend 2 YouTubers. One is named Swyngpoint and the other's Sinow. I will put the links to their videos. They've got amazing builds for each character and Mastermind that will really open your eyes to the possibilities of what you can do with equipment and customization. So I highly recommend you check them out. They're much better at this game than I am. And I would like to do some focused videos on each character in the future once I've gotten them leveled up on the PC version and I can start showing you some stuff, because there's so many different ways that you can build characters, both Mastermind and Survivor. It's crazy. But this video has gone on long enough, so I'm just going to stop it here. And if you're someone who doesn't like Resistance because it's multiplayer, just give it a chance. It's actually pretty fun. But that's all I've got for now. I hope you guys are all doing okay, and keep an eye out for the Mastermind tips video coming soon. But until then, I'm Kai Morgan, and as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to my bronze, silver, and gold Patreon supporters. Thanks to you, I can make videos without worrying about demonetization and grow my channel faster.